The Battle of Fort Sumter marks the fiery opening chapter of the American Civil War, a conflict that would reshape the nation forever. Fought from April 12 to April 13, 1861, this battle wasn't one of massive casualties or sweeping maneuvers, but rather a symbolic clash that ignited the bloodiest war in U.S. history. Situated in Charleston Harbor, South Carolina, Fort Sumter became the flashpoint for a nation divided. The tension before the storm. In the years leading up to 1861, the United States was increasingly torn between North and South over the issues of slavery, states' rights, and federal authority. The election of Abraham Lincoln in November 1860 served as the catalyst for Southern secession. Fearing Lincoln's anti-slavery stance, South Carolina became the first state to secede from the Union in December of that year, followed by 6 other Southern states forming the Confederate States of America by early 1861. Despite the secessions, federal troops still occupied Fort Sumter, an unfinished coastal fortress in Charleston Harbor. Major Robert Anderson, a Union loyalist, commanded the small garrison. The Confederacy, led by President Jefferson Davis, saw the fort as a symbol of unwanted federal presence in their new nation. Shots fired. Tensions came to a head in April 1861 when Lincoln, refusing to recognize the legitimacy of secession, announced plans to resupply Fort Sumter. The Confederates viewed this as an act of aggression. On April 12 at 4:30 a.m., Confederate batteries under the command of General P.G.T. Beauregard opened fire on the fort. Major Anderson and his men returned fire, but heavily outgunned and cut off from support, they were forced to surrender after 34 hours of bombardment. Remarkably, no soldiers were killed during the actual battle, though there were injuries and 2 accidental Union deaths occurred during the surrender ceremony. Still, the event had massive implications. A nation at war. The fall of Fort Sumter rallied the North and solidified the South. Just days after the fort's surrender, President Lincoln called for 75,000 volunteers to suppress the Southern rebellion. This, in turn, spurred 4 more states, Virginia, North Carolina, Tennessee, and Arkansas, to join the Confederacy. What began as a tense political standoff had now exploded into full-scale civil war. The legacy of Fort Sumter. Today, Fort Sumter stands as a national monument, reminding Americans of the fragile nature of the Union and the price of division. Though the battle itself was small in scale, its significance was monumental. It marked the point of no return, the moment when compromise gave way to conflict, and the United States began its long, painful journey through civil war. In a way, the Battle of Fort Sumter wasn't just where the war began, it was where the American identity was tested, and ultimately transformed.